Good evening to everyone on tonight. I pray that you've had a blessed day, and I'm glad that you could join me on tonight as we take a look at some risk management that I believe that we're in dire need to take and look into. And tonight, I want to talk to you about how to handle an active shooter in the church. Tonight, in this ever changing world, as we know that it's getting darker and more evil as the days go by. And this shouldn't surprise the true church, the remnant, the few that stand in true relationship with the Lord. Because Jesus warns us that one of the signs of the last days is that evil will be on the rise, lets us know that demonic activity will be on the increase. Matthew 24 and 12, Jesus Christ, he says, and because iniquity shall abound, he says, the love of many shall wax cold, but he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. And with that being said, we've got to be on guard. We must be on watch and be on alert for the well-being and safety of one another. 1 Peter 5 and 8 says, be of a sober spirit and be on alert. 1 Corinthians 6 and 13 also tells us to be on alert. Now is not the time. In times where evil is on the increase, now is not the time, even in church, even in the place of worship. Because we know that the fear of God is almost now, even within the church, a thing of the past. So now is not the time to let down our guard, but we must be on the watch. We are to watch over our souls as well as our physical and well-being and safety. I feel that it is our God-given duty to be on guard and watch over one another, not only spiritually, but physically as well. We are hearing of more and more of mass shootings in schools, and there have been church shootings as well. And I just want to make us aware tonight and give us a little risk management tools that can help us in the event of the unthinkable, of an active shooter within our church. I want to give us at least 5 things that we could do to maybe detour and help us have a plan in place in the event of an active shooter would come into our church. It's not a foreseeable thing that we could foresee that would take place, but it could very well take place even in our church. Number one thing that I believe that we could do to detour an active shooter or potential of any evil threat against our church. The number one risk management tool that I believe that we need to take, and not only our church, but every church needs to take, in my opinion, number one, to deter an active shooter, number one, in my opinion, is to pray. To pray that because I still believe in the power of prayer, to pray that God would keep us from evil. And I put prayer as number one because that is by far, I believe, the most powerful and the most effective thing that we could ever do is pray for God's protection. In fact, in our model prayer that God has given us, he says, when you pray, pray like this. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us not our debts, so we forgive our debts. Lead us not into temptation, but listen to the light. He said, but deliver us from evil. Pray, pray that God put a shield around us and to protect us from evil. So number one, risk management tool I believe we could take is to pray. Number two, in the event of an active shooter, I believe one of the things that we could to detour that is to have a visible deterrent in place, such as a uniform law enforcement. Maybe to have visible cameras on the outside, or ushers even scanning the parking lot, or a law enforcement car parked outside of the church in the parking lot. That could very well deter an active shooter from coming to our church. So number two is to have a visible deterrent in place. Number three is to be watchful, to be on guard, to keep our eyes open as individual members of this church, to keep our eyes open of suspicious activity. If you see something that's off, let the ushers know. Let the board know. If you see someone come in acting suspicious, looking suspicious, dressed suspicious, maybe with a long trench coat or something of that matter on, something out of the unusual, let usher know. Let one of the boards know. Let the leadership know. That could very well could stop a potential active shooter. Number four, have two or three within our church with concealed carry weapons, working with the law enforcement who are trained with distinctive clothing on that could very well stop the threat of even something worse of taking place within our church. And number five, and there are many, but I'm just giving us just a few that we could take. And number five will be my last one, is have a crisis plan in place. What will we do? Where will we go? Where would we run to? How would we maybe shelter ourselves? We need to have a crisis plan in place. What will we do if a shooter comes in and begins to shoot? We need to have drills with the security team, maybe once a quarter. These are some things that could help us out in the event of an active shooter. I want to close with this. Bill Clinton said following a church shooting in Texas that left 7 dead. He said there is nothing we can do to ensure this will never happen. But there is a lot more we can do to ensure it will happen less frequently. We can't stop it, but we can take steps to detour them from happening and to respond when they do. So I wanted to bring this awareness to you, to stay on watch, to stay on guard, most of all to pray for our protection. And as we move forward, we're going to put some risk management tools and things in place in the event of an active shooter. May God bless you.